This technique will help you own any woman. Imagine walking into a room and instantly connecting with any woman, effortlessly engaging her on a deep emotional level. You can see it in her eyes, the intrigue, the connection, and the emotional spark. This isn't magic. It's science, it's psychology, and today, I'm going to show you the exact technique to make it happen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a powerful technique that will help you not just impress a woman, but truly own any interaction by creating a genuine emotional connection. You see, attraction isn't just about looks or charm. It's about tapping into her emotions. In this video, I'll walk you through a simple yet highly effective strategy to build emotional rapport, known as Listen Like a Therapist. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to ask the right questions, listen in a way that makes her feel seen, and create an experience she'll never forget. Ready? Before we get started, please like the video if you find it enjoyable. If you have not already, I suggest subscribing and turning on the bell so you can watch all future videos on this topic. Let's dive in. 1. Understanding emotions. Why emotional connection matters. Let's start with the basics. Why are emotions so important when it comes to attraction? Picture this. Most men believe that attraction is purely physical, that if you look good, crack a few jokes, and show confidence, you'll naturally win her over. But here's the truth. Attraction is an emotional experience. For women, it's not just about what they see. It's about what they feel when they're around you. Think about the last time you connected with someone on a deep level. It wasn't just the words exchanged. It was the way they made you feel, right? Women are wired the same way. You have to tap into her emotions if you want to stand out. Studies show that emotional intelligence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. It's not about knowing all the answers. It's about making her feel understood. And that's what today's technique is all about. 2. Categories of perception. Where do you stand? Now, before we dive into the technique, let's talk about how women perceive men. Here's a reality check. Every woman you meet subconsciously places you into one of 3 categories. 1. Potential boyfriend. This is where you want to be. She feels an emotional connection with you, and there's potential for romance. 2. Friend zone. You're nice, you're kind, but there's no spark. She doesn't feel anything deeper for you, and that's a tough place to get out of once you're in. 3. Forgettable. This is the worst category. You made no impression at all, and she likely won't remember you the next day. Most guys land in the friend zone or become forgettable because they focus on surface-level conversations. They talk about the weather, work, or make superficial compliments. But the men who end up in the boyfriend category, they tap into her emotions. 3. Personal experience. My journey to understanding women's emotions, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was that guy who always ended up in the friend zone. I'd go on dates, have nice conversations, but nothing ever went beyond that. I was frustrated and couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. Then one night, I went out with a friend who seemed to have this natural ability to connect with women. It wasn't that he was better looking or more charming than me. It was how he made them feel. He knew how to listen, how to ask questions that went beyond the usual small talk, and how to make women open up emotionally. That night was a turning point for me. I started studying the psychology of attraction and relationships, and I realized something fundamental. Women want to feel heard, seen, and emotionally understood. Once I started applying these principles, my dating life changed dramatically. The conversations I had with women became deeper, more engaging, and much more meaningful. And today, I'm going to share with you the exact method that helped me make this shift. 4. Emotional connection VZ. Logic. What's really going on? Here's the difference between the guy who stays in the friend zone and the guy who becomes her boyfriend. Emotional connection. A friend offers casual conversation, logical banter, and sometimes even advice. But a boyfriend, he stirs emotions. He knows how to make her feel excited, passionate, even a little vulnerable. You see, women aren't looking for just someone to talk to. They're looking for someone who can make them feel. Think about it like this. You've probably heard the saying, people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. It's the same in relationships. The key to moving out of the friend zone and into a romantic connection is making her feel something that she doesn't get from other guys. 5. The technique. Listen like a therapist, all right. Now let's get into the technique. Listen like a therapist. You might be thinking, therapists? That sounds boring. But hold on, therapists have one of the most powerful communication tools at their disposal: the ability to listen in a way that makes people feel completely understood and emotionally connected. This technique allows you to guide the conversation in a way that speaks directly to her emotions. Here's how it works. Instead of asking surface-level questions like, "What do you do for work?" or "How was your weekend?" you ask questions that get her to talk about her feelings. You're not just listening for information, you're listening for emotion. When you ask her about what makes her passionate, what frustrates her, or what excites her, you're opening the door to a deeper connection. 6. Emotional questions. What to ask, so? How do you do this? It's all about asking the right kind of questions. Think of it like peeling an onion. Each question takes you a little deeper into her emotions. Here are some examples of emotional questions you can use. 1. What's something you're really passionate about right now? 2. What's been the biggest challenge you've faced lately? 3. When's the last time you felt truly alive and inspired? Notice how these questions aren't about facts or small talk. They're designed to get her to feel something and share those feelings with you. The goal here is to create a space where she feels comfortable opening up emotionally. When she shares her feelings, she starts to associate those emotions with you, which deepens the connection. 7. Conversation examples. The power of emotion. Let's compare a logical conversation to an emotional one so you can see the difference. Logical conversation. So what do you do for work? Her response might be, "I'm a graphic designer." Emotional conversation. What do you love most about being a graphic designer? Does it give you a sense of fulfillment? Now her response will dive deeper. "I love being creative." There's something amazing about seeing an idea come to life. It's not always easy though. Sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, and that can be tough to handle. Do you see how the second conversation invites her to share her emotions, her fears, and her passions? That's where real connection happens. 8. Listening skills. The 70-30 rule. Now that you've asked the right questions, your job is to listen. This is where most men drop the ball. They ask a question, then immediately jump in with their own story or opinion. Don't do that. If you want to connect on an emotional level, you need to let her talk. A good rule of thumb is to let her speak 70 of the time, while you contribute 30 avers. This balance allows her to express herself, while you guide the conversation by asking follow-up questions or sharing brief, thoughtful responses. Here's an example. If she tells you about a passion project she's working on, resist the urge to say, "Oh, I did something similar." Instead, ask her more about it. "That sounds amazing. What's been the most rewarding part of that project?" By doing this, you're showing that you're interested in her feelings, not just the facts. 9. Avoid interview mode. Flow naturally. One mistake that men make when trying this technique is falling into interview mode. You don't want to bombard her with question after question, making it feel like a job interview. Instead, let the conversation flow naturally. Build on what she's saying and allow the conversation to evolve organically. If she's talking about a recent trip she took, ask her how it made her feel rather than jumping to the next question on your mental checklist. A great way to keep the conversation flowing naturally is by sharing small pieces of your own experience that relate to what she's talking about. But remember, this isn't about you. It's about making her feel understood. Keep your stories brief and always steer the conversation back to her emotions. 10. Empathy. Show you understand. Here's the secret sauce to making this technique work: empathy. It's not enough to just listen. You need to show her that you understand how she feels. You can do this through simple, empathetic responses like, "That must have been really tough for you. I can understand why you feel that way. It sounds like you were really passionate about that." These statements show that you're not just hearing her words, you're feeling what she's feeling. When a woman feels that level of emotional connection, she's far more likely to be attracted to you on a deeper level. 11. Body language. Non-verbal connection. While the words you say are important, your body language plays a huge role in creating emotional connection. Make sure you're giving her your full attention, no distractions, no checking your phone. Lean in slightly when she talks, maintain good eye contact, and nod or smile to show that you're engaged in what she's saying. One of the most powerful non-verbal cues you can give is a gentle touch. If the conversation gets deep and emotional, a light touch on her arm or shoulder can reinforce the emotional connection. But be mindful, only do this if the moment feels right and she seems comfortable with it. 12. Vulnerability, the secret weapon. Here's the final piece of the puzzle: vulnerability. Many men think that showing vulnerability will make them appear weak, but the truth is, vulnerability is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. When you're open and honest about your own feelings and experiences, you invite her to do the same. For example, if she's sharing a personal story about a challenge she faced, you might say something like, "I can relate to that. I went through something similar a few years ago, and it really made me question myself. But looking back, I'm grateful for the experience because it helped me grow." This shows that you're not afraid to share your own emotions, which creates a safe space for her to open up even more. 13. Patience. Building trust takes time, remember. Emotional connection doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build trust and create a space where she feels comfortable opening up. Don't rush the process or push for deep conversations too soon. Start with light, fun topics and gradually work your way into more emotional territory as the conversation evolves. And there you have it. The listen like a therapist technique that can revolutionize the way you connect with women. Remember, it's not about having all the answers or being the most charming guy in the room. It's about making her feel understood, valued, and emotionally connected. If you start applying these principles today, you'll notice a dramatic shift in the way women respond to you. They'll start seeing you as someone who gets them on a deeper level, and that's where real attraction happens. So next time you're in a conversation, remember to listen, ask emotional questions, show empathy, and be vulnerable. Trust me, it works. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on becoming the best version of yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one technique you're going to try out after watching this video? And as always, keep growing, keep learning, and keep making those connections that matter. Let me give you one last example before we wrap this up. A good friend of mine, let's call him Jake, was always the life of the party. He had no problem getting dates, but they never seemed to go anywhere beyond that first spark. He'd always say, "I don't get it. I'm funny, I'm confident, I know how to make her laugh, but nothing ever lasts." So I told Jake about this technique. The next time he went on a date, instead of cracking jokes and keeping things surface level, he used the listen like a therapist technique. He asked her deeper questions about her passions, her challenges, and what made her feel alive. He listened more than he talked. And for the first time, he made an emotional connection that went beyond the first date. A few weeks later, Jake called me up and said, "Man, I've been going out with her for a month now and it's different. We're connecting on such a deep level. I think this might actually go somewhere." That's the power of emotional connection, and you can create it too.